Is it going to be Manhattan? Is that next? Or is it Philly? Because Christopher Green said that Maui was just that was just an appetizer. And he was saying that he was getting attacked, talking about his casualties, right? Casualties. Definitely stressed that last word. But yeah, Christopher Green, he has no idea who I am. He never even heard of me before. Just like Richie from Boston. When there was not a robin, not a bird, not a robin. And we're not making predictions here. And then he opened up with the Batman and Robin theme the day after I did my Batman and Robin mask ordeal. So Christopher Green said that was just an appetizer. They're not going to stop. And a major U.S. city is next. Considering he's like that god from the trickster god from Hawaii that Jonathan Clegg was talking about. And Marina Abramovic. I think he's telling you the truth. Because in Petcoat too, I believe it's showing it. It's referring to the first 9/11 with those twin towers that go down, and it looks like a male and a female next to each other. But it's also referencing the future second 9/11 in Philadelphia, Liberty 1 and Liberty 2. And considering that that portion of Maui was burnt to a crisp, well, then it shows me that they're willing to destroy major cities. Because it's not like the Antichrist is thinking he's going to get away with it and all that stuff. He knows what his script is. He knows what his script is. And things have to be remade. Everything has to be redone. Derek Bros just did something where he showed a crow, or a raven, and then 9/11 on it, saying that he's going to get back up and start. A lot of things are going to be revealed. Nothing else makes more sense than the second 9/11 being in Philly. Coming up on the 21st full year anniversary date. Because Barack Obama, there's a reason why he read "Be Still, Know That I'm God" at 8:48. And he read it on September 11th, 2011. You know, when Christ started to return in spirit. So with that being just an appetizer, that's just getting it started. That's supposedly the sun rising from the place of its setting. Christopher Green, I believe, is playing the Son of God. Jesus Christ is King. Well, I don't think Jesus Christ is that arrogant. I don't think his character is, well, first of all, I don't remember Jesus being rich. He's more like the rich young ruler, because they never actually said who the rich young ruler is. But Christ told the rich young ruler, you know, so I forget what he said. It's something along the lines of, if you sell your goods and give to the poor, then you'll be able to. But we all know that's not going to happen, is it? Or maybe it will in the end. I forgot to upload my video yesterday, so there's 2 of them today. And then I was recording 5 minutes or so, and then I turned the truck off and started back up, and then it cut me off because it connects automatically, and I don't know, it just shuts your camera off. Not sure why. It's some kind of gang stalking tactic. But I've considered that this is Hades, where we're at. Whether it's Hades or YouTube platform is Hades. Because it's like filled with devils. It's the land of the dead. Now, considering that heaven is a real place, then hell should also be a real place. Stephen James says I'm going to hell, as if he's going to take me to hell, or he's like he has the power to take me to hell. The only reason I would be going to hell, it's not to be tormented and tortured to death. It's to set free the captives that are down there, and to meet everybody. And then it's like a meet and greet. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be like a scary haunted hayride at first. But ultimately, I'm just going there to meet the people that I freed, because did you guys not, like, you're not even on planet Earth, correct? Those of you that got cast out of heaven, are you even here? Or, like Jonathan Clegg, an angel of the bottomless pit at the bottom, because like Lucifer, who was in heaven, got cast out, came down to the earth. Well, the devil has come down to the earth, so isn't that different than the angel of the bottomless pit? Because unless the pit is the earth, and he came down here to earth, but yet he's saying the bottomless pit. We are in a pit. That's where Joseph was thrown into, a pit. But nevertheless, if I go to hell, it's because of what I've done and helped everybody, and then they get freed. Hell's raised. I go there to raise hell, set the captives free, and then I finally get to retire for life, and I just get to do what I want every day that I wake up. No more just driving back and forth, wasting my life away. Not that it's a complete waste, because having this job that I have now, it's given me an opportunity to listen to a lot of stuff. And then I've learned to be more efficient, where taking a timestamp is a screenshot. So as I'm listening to something, I'll stop it, like, hold up, and then rewind it 10 seconds, and then screenshot, and there's my timestamp. And then I can just keep moving, keep working. That way I don't take up much time. If I take up too much time in a day, I'll subtract that half hour or an hour or whatever. But for the most part, it's pretty efficient and quick. And it's allowed me to go back and forth and learn the landscape in Philly. So it was all purpose for me to come to Philly. Really, it's born in Florida as a rebel. The only one in my family, or at least that's what my birth certificate says. And I come up here with all these dang Yankees. And I feel like it's HateTEES because everybody seems to be programmed to hate Robin Henry Tees. So therefore, knowing how everything is about similarities, well, if it's HateTEES, then it would be HateTEES. Because the Gangstalk Corporation is designed to hate Robin Henry Tees and test him every which angle that he goes. That reminds me of the Job story too. Job was, it's like he said, I just get tested like at the moment I walk out my door. It's just, everybody's just, and that's the way it is. And he also said, if I'm deceived by a woman, or if I lie at the door, my neighbor's wife, then let my wife grind upon another, a hand mill, like hand grind, and let others bow down to her. So what it means, in my opinion, is, well, Job, if you're watching porn, or if you're thinking of going to your neighbor's house at night, but I don't think it's a physical thing, I think it's a internet thing. If you're watching that, then he said, well, then apparently, you know, it's not like, well, if I am deceived, because obviously he was deceived by his wife, and then if he's crouching at the door, like in other words, watching porn at night, like Nick at night, well, then that would mean, it's not that he wishes his wife would do that, it's just that if that's what's happening, well, then this is what's also happening with his wife. Just like when Belshazzar said, if you can interpret this saying, you will be, you know, in a previous video that I'm watching of yours, you will be clothed in purple and you'll have a gold chain around your neck. It's not that you're going to have a gold chain. It's you will have one. And then also, you'll be the third highest ruler. But he also said, without saying you'll be the third highest ruler, in another interpretation, he said, I am not dead yet. So, it's like, as he's saying these things, if this is the case, well, then that's also going to be the case. If you're Jezebel, well, then I guess I'm Elijah, you know, in spirit, and that's how that would be. So Christopher Green, Green Wave, Morning Star, General Green, Boardwalk, Johnny Kleck, the trickster god over in Hawaii, setting the trap. I know what the trap is. The trap is, he's trying to get everybody to take their money out of the banks as if they're going to close, and exchange your cash for 30 shekels of coins, because everything he's talking about is 30. Get in now. Sign up for islandproject.com. 30,000 minimum is what you got to put in. 30K minimum. 30 condos minimum. 30 this, 300 that, 3 this, 30,000 that, and 1,000x to the moon. 1,000 of his lords, just like Belshazzar, and 30 shekels to betray Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ is king. Huh, that's weird. Yep. So I think Philly is the spot, because it's just, everything seems, everybody's talking about it. Paul Begley, well, if Christ returns before 9/11 or before 9/15, the Feast of Trumpets or something like that, It is the 21st year, and it'll be the 21st full year. So everything is in full, to the fullest of the Gentiles. And so Christopher Green was talking about being attacked and his casualties, but he's still going after it. He's still gonna, because Robin, you're gonna get it. Well, whatever I get is what I get. There's gonna be an end point at some point, and I finally get to live the life that I've been dreaming up for the past almost 7 years. But it's a lot of work, and it's all unseen. It's all unappreciated to the naked eye, not to the masters of the universe. Even Christopher Green appreciates my work, because he may not like it, because now that he thought he was going to get away scot-free, but if you know the future, you already knew what I was going to do, because it's already been written. So, but you still, it's not like you'll like it. But God told me to tell you that the writing's on the wall, and then he actually showed it to you through my video footage in the art museum. Like, that's legitimate, tangible evidence that the writing's on the wall, because I turned Christ as, he was like a leaning, is it a separate tree? And then I turned him up so he can start writing on the wall after he was drawing a line in the sand. And then Bono, as soon as I did that, it's over, because I flipped him upside down. His hands were now tied, because you're caught. You're caught in something that is unbelievable. And I'm tired of not being able to, you know, have that solid to the rest of the sheeple. This entire sheeple world needs to understand what's going on here. The masters of the universe get it, because you're the ones that have seen my recording before I was even born. Somehow. So I think this is HateTEES because it's a gangstalking corporation. I believe that this is where you go. You come back here to torment people. That's what Nate was saying. Skip's son, HateTEES. He was, if that's not Skip's son, who knows, but at least what he was saying was, when you die, you don't go to heaven or hell. You go, there's somewhere else that you go before your final destination. And I believe it's some kind of a 3-day meeting up with Stephen James DeShawn type of ordeal, where you're promised to burn in a lake of fire, if you believe them, because they'll probably show you like holograms of people burning and it seems like it's real, and they'll tell you there's no heaven, and you're either going to burn or you need to come back up here and torment people because you have to be a gangstalker. And I think that's what it is, because I think he's going to try to send me to hell, but you can't convince me that heaven doesn't exist, because it does. It's an absolute real place. And I'm going back there. So, there's that. So, considering that I believe heaven is a real place, well then, I have to believe that hell is a real place too. And it's just where people are trapped. And I'm looking to set them free. But in Petco 2, it sure seems like when the Antichrist fully rises, supposedly he's the Antichrist, because he drops a bomb a nuclear bomb on a square piece of property that's kind of reminds me of the square area around the William Penn building, and he drops the bomb, and then he lifts up, and also he has a heart that's on fire and eyes like flames of fire and a crown of thorns around his head, and he looks pretty peaceful. So I don't know why people think that's the Antichrist figure. because it's more like the Christ figure, because then the crown of thorns, the moment that happens, guess what? His other portion of him, the egghead, because I believe he's the same thing, the egghead rises up with a wounded head, and that serpent takes off. And from that point on, it's over for that. As soon as that moment happens, that's it. That's the crossroad. That's the meeting. That is going from one realm to the other, going from everything that I've ever said, spiritually unseen, unappreciated, to just a solid, concrete, in your face, here it is, listen up. And Satan's time is completely up at that moment, right there. And it shows the William Penn Tower with that woman with the bleeding issue for, I don't know, maybe it's a 12-year bleeding issue, and then it dries up along with the system itself. And she's in prison up there, and when she's looking out, there's a heart blinking, which is also Love Park, because it's right in that same exact direction that she's looking out, with the clock tower shining down. It was even shining in my video the other day that I added a waterfall, and then I realized, wow, that tower that's over there is shining right in my direction, just like the Pet Goat 2 video is shining right down where I was standing at Love Park, saying, Jonathan Click, I really love you. And then I'm looking up at the same direction, and that is the clock tower, because that's where apparently William Penn is trapped. And then that's the spot where the angel of the bottomless pit rises up. Because maybe that represents Click, that character. I think it does, but he rises up once Philadelphia has a nuke dropped on it, because they burned up Maui. So that's only an appetizer, like Christopher Green said. And he's freaking Marina Abramovic. 96% match with facial features. Not that he really looks like that. I'm just saying it's the male-female match. Everybody's wearing a mask. Yeah, everybody. So I long for the day of retirement, to be able to wake up and just do what I want to do. Only doing what I want to do. And having Stephen James, like that serpent in my egghead, constantly telling me things and threatening me that I'm going to go to hell and all this stuff, and you're going to die and you're going to be slain, and all those threats. When that event happens, it ends, because where all the threats are just thrown out the door, because the reality is I win, because I met you there. I met you at the spot that is going to be absolutely 100% dead on predicted to the T, in the exact city, building, time, place, everything. Then it's over for Satan.